In the next 30 days, I'm going to take a business from $0 to 30,000, and you're invited behind the scenes to watch exactly how I do it.
30K in 30 days, let's go. Watch it grow, watch it grow. 30K in 30 days, let's go. On the rise, we're in the flow.
I hope you love that intro as much as I do. My ADHD brain could not help myself. When I wrote this outline or this script initially for this video, the hook kind of like didn't really transition well into the next parts. Rather than fixing that, I was like, I should just write a song to intro jingle the way in here. And yeah, so I had fun with that. I thought it was hilarious. I was cracking up the whole time. I used Suno.ai to write that song. Anyways, tangent, but there's your first little bit of behind the scenes. So the first thing you're probably asking is how I plan on making this challenge happen, how I'm going to pull this off, and where this challenge even comes from. So I've been running ads for about 10 years now, and I have seen some insane internet money, Cinderella story type experiences, like a coach hitting his first 100K month with courses, an e-commerce brand that scaled from 5K to 90K in less than 60 days on a shoestring budget. By the way, they made me pause that campaign because we blew through almost a year's worth of inventory during that time. And then I had another coach go from almost broke to seven figures in 6 months with a single webinar. I had another webinar get to 200K last month, and then saving a local clinic from closing their doors by getting an additional 50K in new patients. These stories go on, and they're all great. But I've always done this for other people, never myself. I've known I wanted to do this for a long time, but honestly, I keep procrastinating it because working for clients is actually a lot more comfortable. So this is where the challenge comes from. I basically set a very specific goal, a specific time frame, and I came up with 30K in 30 days. I think that 30 days is long enough to basically make an impact and be able to see some traction. And 30K is a little arbitrary, but I wanted to kind of stretch it far enough that it would challenge me and not kind of fall back on easier, just basically more go-to models that I would typically do. So this is definitely kind of forcing me out of my comfort zone to hopefully achieve something cool. So before I show you the plan of how I'm going to get there and how I came up with that plan, I want to touch quickly on why I decided to build in public. So like I said, this is something that I've known I wanted to do for a long time, but I keep pushing it off. I keep procrastinating, and I keep just falling back into client work. In fact, I still have clients. I'm still doing this like agency, freelance consulting thing, but I want to force this urgency on myself. I want to have extreme accountability. I also want to show what's possible, prove to myself, but prove to, others that I'm potentially going to be rubbing shoulders with, that this stuff is the real deal. This works. And not only that, but how it's possible, what's working today. So what's possible and what's working. I also want to attract cool people. I think that as I build this out, as I'm kind of hopefully gaining traction in this thing, get some momentum and have this magnetic attraction to the same type of people who are into the same type of thing as me, this internet nerd stuff, the people who don't really care about this will trickle off, and that's fine too. So definitely want to, this guy's cool because he has glasses and he's smiling. And then last is Cringe Mountain. Basically, every time I've done this kind of thing, like just put myself out there. And I don't like this. I don't like to be on camera. I don't like to put myself out there. I don't like to make content, do all these things. But anytime I've done it or seen my clients do it or others do it, good things happen on the other side of Cringe Mountain. So I just need to get over myself. I need to get over that. It's cringy. It's uncomfortable. It's not great, but great opportunity usually comes on the other side of Cringe Mountain. So I'm gonna put myself out there and we'll see where this gets me. A few notes on kind of like the structure of this challenge that I'm gonna do, or like some basically housekeeping, is I want to maintain privacy and confidentiality for my the partner that I'm gonna go in on this with. And I as I'm going to show you, I am going to do this with a partner, but I want to maintain kind of their confidentiality. I'm not going to dox their business or the offer that we're working on. But I'll also be documenting as much as I possibly can to be able to share that value with you. And yeah, so hopefully understand that. The next one is I don't want to have to feel like I'm just like teaching this course. This is not a course on how to go from 0 to 30. I'm purely documenting my journey. This is not a course. I'm not teaching. This is not beginner content. If there's ever a point where I just gloss over a certain topic, like, I'm writing ads or I'm, building out a funnel or, designing an offer or whatever it is, kind of mapping out different upsells, whatever. And it's interesting to you, comment on that so that I can zoom in on another video and focus specifically on that. And I can do educational content that actually covers that in more detail. But these videos, kind of these more reports, even this video is longer than the typical like report video will be. But if you are interested in anything that I touch on, I will make sure to make more educational content on that specific thing, like how to write a killer ad or what targeting to use or whatever you want to learn about in that video. And then I kind of have like a basic structure of how I want to do these little like daily updates. I am going to share my daily revenue. I'll show challenge revenue, and then I'll show what moved the needle that day. I'll share some kind of gold nugget from something I was building that day, and then I'll share what my plan is for tomorrow. So yeah, it should be good. So now to the real stuff. How am I actually going to pull this miracle off and to kind of help myself so that I'm not thinking about all the different ways to make money, which I have been. I've totally been like overthinking this, overanalyzing, tons of conversations with my robot ChatGPT, and rather than like getting stuck in that infinite loop of just like scheming and strategizing and like never actually taking action, I've come up with kind of some constraints for myself so that I can filter a little bit better. And these are the constraints that I've come up with. So in search of the vehicle that's going to get me there, I've put these constraints on myself to make sure I'm filtering for the best types of opportunities. And these constraints are going to be time, obviously. So 30 days, I need to kind of prioritize accordingly. Capital, I don't have a bunch of startup capital. I'm not going to go raise a bunch of money. I'm not going to take out a loan. I'm not going to do any of these things. I'm going to bootstrap this thing. So it is going to be limited capital. And the last one is, um, there are more, but I'm a media buyer. I'm an internet money guy. I'm an online money person. So I'd prefer to do this in a way that kind of leverages my expertise. All right, so I've written down some of the most common make money online models. Obviously, there are a ton more than this. These are just the ones that come to mind. But I'm going to kind of go through them a little bit and kind of give you my thought process on this. Agency and freelance. Obviously, I'm doing that right now, but the whole goal of this challenge is to go from 0 to 30. I think I know that going from 0 to 30 in this model is definitely possible. A lot of times for me, these sales cycles tend to take a little longer. So this isn't really a feasible like 30-day thing for me, at least. And I, as you'll see in my other criteria that I'm about to share with you, I am looking for a lower fulfillment style model or a no fulfillment style model. And agencies and freelance is it's very heavy fulfillment. Consulting is also a very feasible way of doing this. I also consult right now. Um, and this is a great model because I basically just show up to these calls, answer whatever questions they have for me, and then I don't have to go and like, have my team build out a bunch of stuff or I have to go build a bunch of stuff. It just is the calls. So those are really nice. Again, these sales cycles tend to take longer for me. So I don't know that I could get enough of these types of deals in 30 days. So I'm going to hold off on that one. Ecom is very capital intensive upfront, is can be very time intensive. I will consider this in the model that I'm going to do. But yeah, it can take a lot of time to design these, create these. Affiliate, I actually don't know a lot about it, so I'm actually just going to cross that off. Software, very capital and time intensive, often not very great cash flow businesses upfront. Investing, trading, I don't know a lot about it, don't have a lot of capital to put into that. for it to make sense. Newsletter business, again, I don't know a ton about it. I know there's some killers out there in my network who do great with newsletters. Seems like it's kind of a time compounding thing, which leads us, of course, to this last idea here, partnership funnels. So um, this does kind of fit my criteria on multiple levels. Some people in my space are calling it the publishing model. Some people are calling it growth operators. It's obviously been around forever, but basically you take your client acquisition ability and just marketing chops, and you approach another person that is usually an expert, has some type of expertise, and together you create this offer that you can launch. And yeah, you usually will split it 50-50. So that's what I've done here. I've gone out and I found a expert who I will split a an offer with 50-50. I basically said, love what you do, love your expertise. I want to build this offer around you. I want to build this funnel around you and your knowledge and your expertise and your audience. And that's kind of the deal. Now, how did I find this individual? They're actually a previous client of mine. I've actually been inside of their account before. Obviously, I've been in a lot of accounts, but this one was unlike any that I've ever seen before. The audience responds incredibly to the offers that we put out previously, and I'm just very, very excited about this space and this audience and this partner. And so, yeah, that's kind of the model that I'm going to go after. So to back up a little bit, when I am considering an offer to go into or to build out or a partner to team up with on one of these types of funnels, I do have kind of a criteria I'm looking for because, again, I've been in a lot of these accounts. I've seen a lot of these offers behind the scenes. And so over time, I've just generated these like basically like list of patterns that I see that I know would be just kind of the launch pad for something great. And a lot of the successes that I've seen have all shared kind of these trends and patterns. And so I've compiled that list and put it into a format that I can kind of use as a filter to say, okay, is this opportunity worth pursuing or not? And I'll go through that right now. So one of the first things I'm looking for is that it is a digital offer. Now this can be kind of a hybrid or a mix, or it can kind of be a little fluid. But the main point is that it is a low or no fulfillment model. Every business is in the business of sales, and then every business is in the business of delivering on whatever it is that's being sold. And so if I can create businesses that have low fulfillment or no fulfillment. I mean, SaaS comes to mind, insurance comes to mind. Once you sell the insurance, it just is. You don't have to go back and deliver it. When I sell my agency services, I have to go back and get my team to build up a bunch of stuff, or I have to go do it. It's just like it's a lot of fulfillment, it's a very heavy fulfillment, and can be very heavy ops. To avoid that and to lean towards simplicity, I am going for low or no fulfillment. This usually tends to give high margins, so that's kind of why I aim for that 70% there. This also needs to be something that's very scalable. The next thing I'm looking for is a bleeding neck problem. I don't want a nice to have. I don't want a mosquito bite. I want a shark bite. I want this to be urgent. I want them to be thinking, the audience to be thinking about this problem that they have all the time. It is top of mind for them. They can't help but to think about it because it's that much of an issue, that much of a pain. And this just makes my marketing a lot easier. I don't have to persuade them that they need to solve this. They know, they feel it. They're looking for it everywhere. I've seen a lot of how to make sourdough bread type of course, and that's really cool. And there's really good money to be made in those types of things. But that's just not what I'm really looking for in these types of builds. Also, I want to make sure that there's evergreen demand. I don't want this to be some type of trendy thing or seasonal type of demand. This is something that is always a problem for this specific audience. The next thing is a big TAM. I want a large, large market. And this number might seem a little arbitrary. It kind of is. I just knew that I wanted to have something that was scalable enough and mass market enough to, you know, be able to not have that ceiling. I took this number from a VC Silicon Valley guy. Basically, gave this formula on. He said, if it's a $1 billion TAM, then you'll have no issue scaling. You'll have no ceiling, whatever. And his formula, I know there's a lot more complicated ones out there, but his formula was number of customers times annual value per customer. So as long as you can go out there and get like accurate-ish data on how many customers exist in your market, how many people are in your audience, and then you multiply that by the amount that they would be spending over a year. If that is over $1 billion, then cool. That's like a massive, massive market TAM. So again, kind of arbitrary a little bit, but that is like a general rule that I'm using. Next is directly related to my expertise. I'm a media buyer, particularly on meta ads. And so I want to be able to leverage this as much as possible. So I'm looking for audiences and offers that can acquire customers through meta ads. So kind of simple. Next is the expert that I partner with needs to have a high success rate. If we are solving a bleeding neck problem, I need to be able to see that they can actually solve this problem. It wasn't a one-time fluke. It is over a long period of time. They have a high success rate of actually solving this bleeding neck problem, and they have a lot of case studies to back that up. I want to be able to use those case studies to fuel my copywriting, my ads, the offer, all the things, and that's just kind of a non-negotiable. I want to make sure that the offer and audience and expert is such that we can have a high LTV. Back to the sourdough example, the only way we're getting a high LTV, which I would consider to be probably 5K plus, is if they're selling multiple products over time. Maybe there's some, I don't know. I think like with the sourdough thing is very hard to make those economics make sense, which is why I want a high LTV. I want it to be kind of easy and frictionless in terms of the economics. Also, just this retention factor, whether it's a membership or subscription or something where there's kind of that ongoing uh, economic advantage. That's something I look for. And then the last thing I'm looking for is just exit potential. Is this something that could potentially grow, become a sellable asset, and that we could exit from? And last, we will wrap up with today's update. Today's day one. Obviously, we're going to end up with a big fat zero for today's revenue, which gives us a total of $0 in total challenge revenue. As far as needle movers today, obviously this video was a big deal for me to get on here, but I have also I picked the offer, which I kind of showed you a little bit of my thinking of how I got there. Also, along with that, I negotiated the partnership. Rather, I finalized it, and then also gathered assets. So I kind of looked at all of the webinars, ads, sales pages, landing pages, emails, any type of resource or PDF that they had. I've been collecting those and in a way that we can be able to use them for our sales assets, our funnels, our offers, our landing pages, all the things. So I've just been kind of gathering all of that. The gold nugget for today is to just start ugly. This far outweighs any perfectionist or overthinking tendencies that I might have. And so yeah, I think that was kind of the biggest thing that I am trying to embrace. Start ugly over perfection, speed and execution over planning, whatever you want to call it. And then last is my plan for tomorrow. I'm going to finalize the front end offer. Obviously, if I'm going to be running ads into this landing page, LP, I need some type of front end offer that is front end going to even attract people over to the landing page in the first place. So I do need to come up with this, and then I'm going to map out my ascension path. So basically, upsells and how I actually get them into the back end or actual like real offer that I'm going to do for these people. I will get into that a little more tomorrow. But yeah, and then If I'm lucky, that's why I have this little question mark here. If I'm ambitious and I can get some stuff done here, then I'm gonna start building tomorrow. So thank you so much for watching this very long video. It will not be this long in the future. Hopefully, maybe, I don't know, if you like it, then I will. But yeah, I think usually these will just be kind of these quicker updates. Just wanted to lay the groundwork here today. And yeah, I appreciate you being here. Thanks for the accountability. I have some urgency under me now. I definitely got to go and act and make this happen. Keep following along, and I will talk to you soon.
30K in 30 days, let's go, watch it grow.